What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we are talking about the Detroit Lions' second fifth-round pick in Jason Huntley. Let's get it started.
I love it all. Running back at heart, but I love kick return and slot too.
So this video probably will be a little bit shorter when it comes to prospect breakdown. Some are longer, some are shorter. I can already kind of tell what I got. It's going to be a little bit shorter. I guess running backs are probably going to be a little bit shorter in general. I know Quintez Cephas was pretty long. I don't know why that video got so long, man. I didn't even have that much to talk about. That video got to 17. Like, what was I doing? Anyways, let's talk about Jason Huntley, the Detroit Lions' second fifth-round pick. That's right. The Lions picked at 166. So just a few picks before they decided to select Quintez Cephas. And if you haven't seen that video, definitely go check it out. That's where we break down the wide receiver. And just a few picks later, then after that, Lions go with Jason Huntley, a running back. And this was probably the weirdest pick of the draft. Probably going to get the worst grade of the draft by a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people grade this pick bad, and they'll probably get my lowest grade as well, just because it didn't make tons of sense. But at the time, it didn't make tons of sense. But now that I'm looking at him and I dug into him a little bit, I kind of see what the Lions are going for here. Maybe I have a couple of ideas on what they may use him for. So let's get into it. This is a guy that was born in Toledo, Ohio, which is, I don't know. I thought that was pretty interesting, right? Now he played in New Mexico State. Okay, I see you. He joins a very deep running back group, right? We had a very deep running back group, and that's why this one shocked me, because Bradley and I was still there, and the Lions would go that route. Obviously, they selected Julian Okwara in the third round, so maybe that's why they didn't go that route. But yeah, Bradley and I was still there. Laryl Murchison was still there. I thought they would maybe go that route. Nope, they went with another running back, and it was like, okay. Yeah, you confused me there, Bob Quinn. That's kind of where you lost me, because our running back group is already deep, and then you added Swift in the second round. It was like, oh. Yeah, running back's good. We're good to go because you got Carrion, you got Swift, you got Ty Johnson, Bo Scarborough, Wes Hills, and Nick Bawden. And I was like, okay, we're not going to grab another one. We did. Yep, we did. And yeah, that was a wild one. Actually, in the skit, we kind of made fun of that one because it was just a weird pick. It was a weird pick. But I think we could get very good use out of him, and I'm going to talk about what his role could be with the Detroit Lions and how other players' roles could change because of this move. Yes, that is right. So by the NFL, he was given a 5.68 prospect grade, which basically means they think he'll be a backup or a special teamer, which to me is pretty much perfect. I think you hit that one on the head. I think that's probably exactly what he's going to be, but who knows? Maybe he'll end up being a starter at some point. Hey, you never know. You can't sleep on these late round picks. Sometimes they start. 5'9", 193-pound running back out of New Mexico State, who in 2018 led FBS in kickoff returns for touchdowns in 2018. So that's pretty impressive. He had 3 kickoff touchdown returns, and yeah, I mean, that's something that the Lions could use for sure. You know, they've kind of had, you know, kind of a questionable situation when it comes to kickoffs. I would say, you know, Amir Abdullah was really explosive. I know Jamal Agnew had one last year against Philadelphia, but he was really consistent with punt returns. You know, he muffed the ball a lot. It was like, oh my gosh, just catch the ball. Sometimes we're actually nervous that he wouldn't catch the ball. So yeah, I can see kind of why they go this route. Maybe he'll work into that. His statistics on offense were 109 carries for 505 yards and 7 touchdowns, and 47 receptions for 529 yards and 11.3 average. 529 receiving yards. He had more receiving yards than rushing yards in 2018, which was his junior year. That's crazy to me. Wow, that's okay. Okay, I see you. And then in 2019, which was his senior year, he had 1,090 yards rushing, 7.1 yards per carry, which was a huge jump from 2018. 7.1. I don't care what competition you're going against. That's impressive. 9 touchdowns, 40 receptions for 192 yards. So the receptions went down, kickoff returns went down in average, but he just kind of turned into a runner for them, and yeah, his numbers went way up. 7.1 yards per carry. You can't really argue with that one. So he showed us a couple different things in college, which is nice. You know, you got to see different things that he could do. You can see that, okay, he can catch the ball in the backfield, he can be an explosive returner, and he can play running back. So he can give you a couple of different things, and you know there's going to be injuries throughout the season. So because of that, maybe this is a guy that slides into a bigger role during the season as we move guys around. But, you know, it's never a bad thing to add weapons. Never a bad thing to add weapons, especially when you're trying to win now. You know, I feel like offensively, we're pretty much a really good offense. I think we should be really, really good offensively next year. And when you add a guy like this, you're just adding weapons at this point for Matthew Stafford and Darrell Bevell to kind of mess around with, and potentially a great special teams player, which we will talk about in a second. Now, looking at his pros and cons, the first pro is I think he can play returner. Okay, I guess we're looking at it right now. Yeah, so I think he can play returner, and this is really going to change a lot of roles here because obviously, you know, when you have 5 kickoffs returned for touchdowns in your college career, you kind of like pushed in that, hey, I can be a returner in the NFL level as well. And yeah, I think that could be his role with the Detroit Lions. Now, not necessarily punt returner. I don't know if he'll be a punt returner. I could see that being Danny Amendola. I can see that. I don't know who else they really have returned punts that often. I don't know who that would be, or maybe someone, you know, someone else, or maybe he can, but at least the kickoff returner this season, which as we know would take away the role from Jamal Agnew, who is our returner right now. The problem with Jamal Agnew is he doesn't give you anything else. He doesn't play at the cornerback position. He's just specifically a returner. He's listed as a cornerback, but he just returns. So if this guy starts returning kickoffs, then it kind of takes a lot away from what Jamal Agnew's role is, and I could see Jamal Agnew being cut. So that definitely changes a lot. Now you're adding this running back, right? So now you have a really deep running back group. Okay, here's just a weird idea. I'm just thinking, brainstorming. What about this? The Detroit Lions cut Nick Bawden, okay, because, the running back fullback group is deep. Move Joe Dahl to fullback, which he has played before, and Jason Huntley stays at running back. Oh, snap. I mean, what do you think? It could happen, right? Because we got a new guard, Logan Stenberg. Maybe Joe Dahl to keep his role instead of just being a backup. Maybe he's our starting fullback. What y'all think? No, I don't know. That's just a weird idea. That probably won't happen, but it was a weird idea. The next pro I have is his speed. This guy in a straight line is extremely fast, and we have Ty Johnson. 40-yard dash is like a 4.26, which is obviously out of this world fast. And Jason Huntley's up there, running very fast 40-yard dash. So in a straight line, he's fast. He's very quick. I mean, let's be real here. This is a very quick running back, and he's going to give us a little bit of a mix. I don't think Swift is the fastest guy in open space, but I think Swift is just very well all around. He's a very polished running back that's ready to go day one. He could actually potentially fight for a slot position, then a slot wide receiver. However, with the Lions, I don't necessarily see that being an option, at least this season. Maybe next year he fights for that, but this year, we're so deep at wide receiver, man. I don't see him getting a chance to play there. I know we had talks, say maybe Theo Riddick could do that. Didn't work out. Maybe this guy could do that. But again, I don't necessarily see it happening this season, but definitely could happen next year, depending on, if Quintez plays the outside and we want to move him in the slot. You could. He also has a true percentage of 98% break tackle rate, which I don't know what that means. I'm going to be honest here. 98%, I thought that was fake. Yeah, no, that's a real thing. But it sounds good, so I'm going to leave it in here. There's your special fact. I think actually everybody was sending me that fact, so thank you for that. Now let's move on to some of the cons that I saw. Well, he carries the ball kind of loose, and I feel like you see it a lot with a lot of fast players because, they're trying to run even faster. Reggie Bush used to hold it like this and stuff, but then they fumble, so you got to be careful with that. However, I don't think it's a huge fumbling concerns. I think it's just that he carries the ball a little bit loose. He doesn't lay the boom. He's not a big boom run over people. Sometimes he will get ran over because he's not that big. He's 5'9", 193. Not huge for a running back. He's a speedster, man. He's a scat back. He's a guy get out of the backfield, make some plays, and he's not a Bo Scarborough. He's not going to try to run over people. I feel like Ty Johnson's kind of a bigger running back. He's not. The competition he played at in college obviously wasn't great, right? New Mexico State. Come on, they're not playing the same kind of competition as DeAndre Swift is in the SEC.
Schedule playing Alabama, Washington State, Ole Miss in particular. You love that challenge, don't you?
Love it. That's another opportunity for me, how I look at it. These are some of the best teams, they say, some of the best teams in the country. And if I go out there and show them I can play with them, I can play with anybody.
Bam, bop, bada bop, boom, pow.
That's why, he fell. That's one of the big reasons he fell as well. But he was also, here's an interesting fact, he was the only running back in this class to have over 1,000 yards receiving. Ooh, snap. I hit y'all with that one. Yeah, that was interesting. I wasn't ready for that one. Okay, I see you. So that's kind of cool, right? Only running back in this draft class to have over 1,000 yards receiving. So, okay, how could the Lions use him now, right? He's got a light frame. He's not the biggest running back. How are the Lions going to use him in this deep running back group? Okay, here's my thought here. There's a couple of ways they can do this. One, he's our kick returner. I don't know if he can play punt returner, but I definitely could see him playing kick returner because he did well at that in college. That would take away from Jamal Agnew. I could see Agnew getting cut. He could do that. He could also be, a rotational running back. I think that would make some sense. Mix him in a little bit. Some people think he's the next Theo Riddick. Personally, I think DeAndre Swift is the next Theo Riddick, just better. That could do more. Because one thing about Theo wasn't ever a great running back. I thought he was solid. He wasn't ever great at it. DeAndre Swift does what Theo does, but he can also run the football really well. That fridge really just going to turn on. So y'all are going to have to hear that for the rest of you. I'm sorry. You're going to deal with it. Okay, I got to deal with it. Y'all can deal with it too. Anyways, that's what I think his role would be. And I don't know if he's necessarily the next Theo Riddick. Yeah, I think DeAndre Swift is like that. But I don't know how many attempts he's going to get year one. But it's definitely going to affect some things, right? Does Bo Scarborough make the squad? Does Ty Johnson make the team? Could you imagine cutting a guy from being here for 1 year? Bo Scarborough, I could kind of see. I'm not saying I want to. I'm saying I can kind of see it, though, because, he was on the practice squad. Ty Johnson, you drafted last year. Are you really going to move on from him? So, yeah, he could be fighting and taking away some jobs, which would be crazy. I would say overall, I'm going to give this pick a B. I didn't, necessarily expect it. It's weird. Maybe, it'll prove me wrong. I'm just kind of curious to see what they use it for. I don't know if it necessarily filled a major need, but you can never have enough weapons. Just like Bob Quincy never has enough pass rushers. I would have went with Bradley and I, but I guess, because of the Julian Okwara move, they didn't go that route. So, you know what? I'm going to give it a B overall. I just wasn't expecting a running back. You know, I don't think I can give it an A because it's not something I necessarily expected. However, this dude is very, very fun to watch. And if you have not seen his highlights yet, definitely go check him out, right? This dude is pretty explosive. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts, comments below. What grade do you give him? Thank you for watching, and I'm out.